10 million followers, 50 million likes. Ya the Real had it all. She was the queen of social media, known for her flashy lifestyle, her sharp wit, and her ability to turn anything or anyone into content. But what she and her followers didn't know, as she watched the distorted faces of her loved ones twisted into grotesque and unrecognizable shadows, was that her cruel laughter would soon turn to screams. This is the tale that begins with cruelty and it ends in shadows. This is the tale of Ya. In Accra, a city that stretched to the horizon with its glittering lights and restless noise, lived a woman named Ya. To her millions of followers, she was simply Ya the Real, a social media queen whose fame was built on a mountain of laughs. But Ya's laughter came not from joy, it came from cruelty. Ya had made a fortune mocking the weird and the broken. She would stroll through the streets in her designer clothes, her phone outstretched, hunting for her next viral target. A child selling oranges, a beggar missing an arm, a toothless hawker. All became the butt of her jokes. Yet, in the quiet moments after the laughter faded, an uneasy guilt would creep into her thoughts, though she buried it quickly beneath layers of pride. Unbothered and real, she would declare to her followers, masking the gnawing emptiness inside. The likes and comments filled her with a twisted pride, but also a desperate need to keep performing, to drown out the whispers of doubt that sometimes kept her awake at night. The day she signed the biggest brand deal of her career, Ya stood before her new mansion, a sprawling palace of marble and glass, the envy of all who saw it. She raised her phone to capture the moment, and that was when she noticed him. A madman, filthy and bent, sat curled up in her driveway, muttering to himself. His clothes were nothing but rags, and his face was hidden beneath a tangled mass of hair. Ya's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Perfect," she said, pressing record. "Look at this. First day in my mansion and this is my welcome party?" She sneered, her voice dripping with mockery. "Should I hire him as my butler? What do you think, fam?" Her followers ate it up. Comments poured in, demanding more. Encouraged, Ya threw a handful of coins at the man, cackling as he scrambled to gather them, his muttering growing louder. But as her laughter echoed through the screen, something ancient stirred. The air in the room seemed to chill, heavy with a presence that pressed against her chest. Shadows deepened unnaturally in the corners, shifting as though alive, and a faint, guttural hum resonated just out of earshot, a sound that made her spine crawl and her pulse quicken. The first sign came days later, during an Instagram live. Ya was hosting a fashion show, her young son, Dapo, strutting awkwardly in a tiny tuxedo. His steps were stiff at first, his small frame swaying with effort. Suddenly he stumbled, his leg twisting unnaturally with a sickening crack that seemed to echo in the room. "Mummy, my leg!" he cried, clutching his knee, tears streaming down his face as he collapsed onto the floor. Ya laughed nervously, a high, strained sound, trying to play it off. But her followers noticed the child's pain and the grotesque angle of his leg. "Is he limping? OMG," one comment read. Another added, "Maybe the kid caught it from the driveway guy, LOL." Her son's limp didn't go away. Instead, it worsened, his leg dragging behind him like a heavy chain, each step accompanied by a dull thud. The sound haunted the house. Doctors found no cause and no cure, leaving Ya to watch helplessly as her son's every movement became a reminder of something deeply wrong. Next was her teenage daughter, Tenny, who appeared in a TikTok product promo. As Ya spoke, Tenny began muttering under her breath, the words low and incoherent. "Stop that nonsense," Ya hissed, her smile straining as she tried to maintain the polished image her brand demanded. But Tenny's muttering grew louder, her eyes glassy and unfocused, as though her mind had drifted somewhere unreachable. The comments flooded in. "Is she okay? Why is she talking like that?" The viral moment began slipping from Ya's grasp, turning instead into a spectacle she couldn't control. Panic surged through her chest. She leaned in, blocking the camera with her body in a desperate attempt to salvage the shoot. but it was too late. Tenny's voice rose clear now, repeating the same guttural gibberish the madman had uttered, and viewers captured every second. What was meant to be a career highlight unraveled into yet another PR nightmare, the comments piling up with fascination and dread. Her husband, Jide, was next. During a live YouTube house tour, he began twitching uncontrollably, his head jerking and his hands clawing at his throat. The comments exploded with horrified fascination. By now, Ya's pristine online image was unraveling. Brand deals were on hold, and the mocking laughter she had built her empire on was now turned against her. The comments grew increasingly cruel. "Karma's real, Ya," one read, accompanied by laughing emojis. Others mocked her family as the cursed crew, while some reposted clips of her previous cruel videos alongside her current humiliation. "Where's that unbothered queen energy now?" someone jeered. The very audience that once idolized her now delighted in her downfall, their ridicule cutting deeper than any loss of sponsorships. Desperate, Ya scoured the internet for answers. Late one night, while flipping through old family photos, she froze. There, in a faded black and white picture, was the madman, except he wasn't mad. He was regal, dressed in flowing robes, standing guard outside her grandmother's village home. She turned the photo over. Written in trembling ink were the words, "The Watcher, Protector of the House of Ya." Ya refused to believe it. "This is superstition," she muttered. "I'll fix this." She dragged the madman into her home, broadcasting it live. "Time for a makeover," she chirped, forcing him into a chair. She scrubbed his face, cut his hair, and dressed him in a clean shirt. But as she worked, his muttering grew louder, rising into a guttural wail. Suddenly, her phone began to glitch, the screen flickering in and out like a heartbeat gone wrong. Her viewers gasped as the camera captured something impossible. Shadows slithering from her walls like living ink, their forms shifting into grotesque shapes. One moment, they were elongated arms with clawed fingers scraping the air. The next, monstrous faces with hollow eyes and gaping mouths silently screaming. Her family appeared, each one fully possessed. Her son's twisted leg dragged him forward with a sickening scrape, the sound clawing at the ears of all who listened. Her daughter's muttering turned into guttural roars, her voice layered with something ancient and inhuman. Her husband's twitching became violent convulsions, his body contorting as if invisible strings pulled him in unnatural directions. The air grew heavy, crackling with a malevolent energy that seemed to seep through the screen, and all of it was live. Millions watched in horror as Ya's family collapsed into a writhing mass of torment, their agony now a spectacle for the world to see. The madman, now free of his rags, stood tall and furious. His voice thundered, "You have fed the shadows with your cruelty. The demons that plagued me were your family's protectors, corrupted by your greed and scorn. I bore their burden to shield you, but your heart was too hardened to see." Ya fell to her knees, weeping. "What can I do? Please tell me how to save them." The madman's eyes burned. "Sacrifice your pride. Destroy the altar of your ego. Let the world see your shame." In a final livestream, Ya confessed everything, her cruelty, her mockery, her greed. Her voice trembled as she spoke, tears streaming down her face, smearing the carefully applied makeup that once symbolized her perfection. Her hands shook as she clutched the phone, the light from the screen casting harsh shadows on her hollowed cheeks. At times, her voice broke into sobs, raw and unfiltered, as she begged for forgiveness from those she had wronged. Despite the humiliation, she pressed on, her desperation to save her family outweighing the fear of judgment. The silence of her viewers on the livestream felt deafening, their scorn cutting deeper than words. But she bore it all, her pride stripped away layer by painful layer. She deleted every video, every post, every trace of her online empire. And as she did, the demons peeled away from her family, leaving them weak but alive. But Ya wasn't spared. As the livestream ended, she felt her own body twist. Her followers had seen her humiliation, and their scorn burned through her. Now she limped. Now she muttered, Now she twitched. In the weeks that followed, the mansion grew eerily quiet. The laughter and chaos that once filled the home were replaced by the steady shuffle of Ya's uneven steps and the murmurs of her guilt-ridden whispers. Her children and husband, though freed from the demons, were scarred, physically and emotionally. Dapo's limp improved, but never fully disappeared, and Tenny's voice would sometimes slip into muttering without her realizing. Jide avoided mirrors entirely, as if fearing the shadows might return. The community, once dazzled by Ya's glamour, viewed her with a mix of pity and unease. Some whispered about the curse that had fallen on her house, while others, seeing her visible change, softened their hearts. A few of the people she had mocked, the beggar, the street hawker, the child with oranges, would occasionally leave offerings at her gate. Whether it was out of pity or some deeper recognition of the spirit's role, no one could say. As for the madman, he disappeared the very night of the livestream, his tattered coat left hanging on the iron gate of the mansion. Some claimed to see a tall, regal figure walking toward the horizon at dawn, his shadow stretching impossibly far. Others said they heard faint muttering in the wind, like a prayer or a warning. Ya searched for him, hoping for answers or forgiveness, but he was gone. The mansion itself seemed to carry the weight of what had happened. No matter how bright the sun shone outside, the rooms inside remained dim and cold, as though the shadows had left their mark. Ya, once obsessed with her followers, now rarely looked at a screen. She spent her days tending to her family, seeking redemption in small acts of kindness. But deep down, she knew that the scars she bore, her limp, her twitch, her constant muttering, were a reminder that some wounds never fully heal. In time, the story of Ya the Real faded from the minds of most, becoming a tale shared in hushed tones. Be careful how you treat others, the elders would say. The spirits are always watching. In the end, Ya learned too late what her grandmother used to say. Be careful how you treat others, for the spirits are always watching. Remember, friends, the measure of a person is not their wealth or fame, but the kindness they show to the least among us. Treat others with cruelty, and you may find the spirits turning their eyes on you. How about you, loyal listener? Do you believe in karma or spiritual consequences for our actions? Tell us in the comments about a time when kindness came back to bless you, or when unkindness brought unexpected results. It's always a pleasure to have new friends share, comment, and subscribe here for more folk tales from African mythology. See you next time.